hopefully next year.
And maybe even some of us older owners is, to help. But I'm back.
Charge. And now, a message from our president. My fellow Hillians, Nintenfags and Scallywags, I am President Gamebraham Lincoln. The past 18 months has been very trying for Nintenfags. The disappointment of the Wii U, incoherent spouts of damage control, as well as the deterioration of friendships brought together from gaming. That's right, people who called each other friends, deciding to insult each other and end those friendships over their differences of opinions about video games. Video games. Yep, that's f***ing stupid. But now it's time for peace. Nintendo-year-olds now have a new console to rally around and a new beginning. From the ashes of Wii U and NX Spec hype channels, may they rest in peace, now we can come together once again. Thanks to the Nintendo Switch, we can all get off our high horses and get on that Switch hype train. Now, we can start getting our hopes up about a new Nintendo console and all the possibilities with third-party support and power in cheerleading it, and start new Nintendo YouTube channels and defend it till those hopes all come crashing down. Whew, that sounded familiar, didn't it? Well, anyway, it is time to lay down your arms and unite again, brother and brother, friend and friend, Nintenfag and Nintenfag, under one nation, under one Nintenflag. So under my decree and the power vested in me, I declare the Nintenfag Civil War to be over. Now celebrate the Switch, bitch. This has been your president, Gamebraham Lincoln. Thank you and good night. Hello there, fools. I am Representative T of the Gaming District. That is the Nintendo Gaming District. Welcome to the State of Nintendo address. That was a clip from one of my previous videos from a while ago. 2016, I believe it was. I want to say October 2016. Just before, it might have been after, it had to be after the reveal of the Switch trailer reveal, and so I was declaring that the Nintendo fan civil war was over, because there was a lot of jarring during Wii U, and I was hoping that the Switch would be the console to unite us all from the Nintendo fan civil war. But I don't think it's as fervent right now, because Nintendo is winning. So it's not as much a civil war as it is a vocal minority looking at the writing on the wall and calling it what it is. So welcome all. Welcome, Jariana. Glad you had a good time with that. My tie. Yes, I wanted to get, official today. I didn't want to put it up too. There we go. I wanted to get official today with my address. So I wore a tie to make it official. What's up, Bruce Kent? And many more people who are not in the chat. Welcome, one, welcome all. So yeah, we had ourselves a Nintendo Direct. Finally, after 500 something days, over a year, well over a year and a half or so, like that. We've had the Nintendo Direct Minis, which have been varying degrees of quality. There were many who believed it was over. for Nintendo Directs. I wasn't sure. I figured if they're still doing even Direct Minis, they're probably going to continue doing Nintendo Directs. If anything, I was just thinking maybe it won't have the kind of fanfare, that we're used to. Kind of playful nature. It end up being more business-like, more stale, like a State of Play or something like that. It wasn't quite that. I feel like it wasn't quite as playful. But it is what it is. It's Mr. T of Gaming with me. Oh wait, no. Richard Death. 1GWX, what up? Totally worth the 530-day wait. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. And with every direct, they are subjective. So some people will like it, some people don't. I've liked directs that other people haven't liked, and I've disliked directs that a lot of other people liked. So here we are. The saddest thing is that I didn't like or dislike this direct. I'm just kind of indifferent. And I think maybe I just become jaded. If you guys have seen my what not to expect, my Nintendo Direct predictions, what not to expect, I didn't have any high expectations. I know some people saw, and some of my close friends saw 50 minutes for a direct, and they're like, oh my God, it's going to be amazing after a year and a half, or whatever it is. The direct is going to be amazing. I wasn't on that at all. I've been with Nintendo a long time. That sounds weird, but I've been a Nintendo fan, gamer, a long time, and long enough to get a feel for them in some degree. Nintendo is very, mysterious, and they surprise you with a lot of things. They do a lot of things that people don't expect. So there's only a certain amount you can get up. But I feel like I've gotten a grasp of their character, if you will. And it just doesn't feel the same anymore. After 2017, mid 2018, they just haven't felt the same to me as a company and as what they put forth. We've gone back and forth about their output and how not good it is. There's really no denying that unless you're just in denial. So I guess there is denying it. But if you look at, and I've done videos on this before, I've done live stream on this before, covering the first 3 years of other Nintendo consoles. So I'm only holding Nintendo to their own standards. And so covering the first 3 years of their own consoles, because some people will say, oh, pandemic. So I just cut it off and said, all right, before the pandemic. So we'll just take the first 3 years, right? And if you compare, like, we're talking new franchises, new and exciting franchises, like the quality of current franchises, that kind of stuff, quantity even, Switch is nowhere near what we've gotten before. And even on lesser selling consoles, including the Wii U and the GameCube. And I've already pointed this out. I'm not going to go over it again because I've gone back and forth, or back and again on this stuff. So I don't want to repeat myself in this state of Nintendo address. But the writing is on the wall. Like I said, they are different. There's people, and there are people will make like these sidestep goalpost moving arguments to dispel, your obvious fact. Case in point, before we get into the direct talk, the latest controversy, I call it a non-controversy because there's really no controversy whatsoever, is Skyward Sword HD. It's a no-buy for me, by the way. I just want to put that out there. But we talked about past Nintendo and what they've done. So Skyward Sword was a new game in November of 2011. And it came with this package here. Of course I got it because I'm a core Nintendo fan. So it came with this. So there's the game. There is a symphony orchestra soundtrack CD. So not just MIDI tracks or whatever from the game, but a symphony orchestrated soundtrack, which I'm sure cost them a little bit of money, as well as this lovely Wii Remote Plus with the gold insignia and the Skyward Sword symbol, the Zelda insignia on it. Very nice. Wonderful. And, this technology, because people were saying, I'll get into that in a minute. On Twitter, basically, I put a picture up on Twitter showing this and then showing the Skyward Sword HD difference. So the Skyward Sword HD is going to be a $60 game. Surprise, surprise. It is one of the most bare minimum HD game. It's something that you would see on like PS3 in an HD collection, but at least you would get like 3 games. You'd get like Ratchet and Clanks. You'd get Jak and Daxter's. You'd get multiple games from the PS2 era, but it'd usually be 3 games for $50 or so dollars. But they were really bare minimum kind of, HD up-reses and whatnot, which is fine, but you got 3 games. That was nice. And looking at Skyward Sword HD, man, it just looks very like cut and paste, slapped on Dolphin Emulator. I don't even know if it looks as good as what I've seen on Dolphin Emulator. And it's just kind of embarrassing. And basically after Super Mario 3D All-Stars, I had no hope for Zelda's 35th. And this is how it's starting. Wow. But anyway, if you look at, say, even the difference between Wind Waker, right? Wind Waker HD and the original one, there was some pretty good visual upgrading going on. You got bloom lighting, which makes the game, look really modern. But you also have the quality of life stuff put in with the gamepad, which makes the game. They went in and changed some actual gameplay, like with the Triforce Shard hunt. Like they put some work into that, and they did that in 6 months. Because I remember Nintendo bragging about how they did that very quickly. So that is clearly a better HD version of a SD game. And here we go with Skyward Sword on a more powerful console, mind you, and they did next to nothing other than make the controls worse. But that was going to be a given. There may be some people who disagree, who don't care for motion controls, but you're not going to beat 1-to-1 sword control like with the Wii Remote Plus. And so mapping it to directional slashes on the right, I think it's the right analog stick, it's not going to be as intuitive. Even if you're one of those people who feel like, oh, I don't like motion controls and it ruins it for me, I don't see how you're going to have a lot of fun or any kind of intuitive fighting. You'll be able to do the motion, slash, but you won't get the feel of actually moving the sword, which is, what a big part, and the shield, which was a big part of Skyward Sword. So, looking at this package again, this was a $70 package, as opposed to $70 just for the Joy-Cons, and, the price hasn't moved. Or has it moved on the Joy-Cons? It's been $70 from the beginning. Maybe it was $80. I don't remember. It was whatever it was. It's overpriced. So what is this? 5 years in, so a year longer for this package to come out. on the Wii as opposed to it coming out on the Switch. It's 4 years. But this was a new game on Wii, and not so much on the Switch. It is a port of a Wii game. So you would think, they would charge accordingly, but no. Come on. And then you have the price of the game itself being $60, and then the Joy-Con. Even if you cut it in half, it's still egregious because obviously the game's overpriced itself. And then because Joy-Cons, it is 2 controllers, but this, unlike my Joy-Cons on my Switch, this actually still works, and it's much older, and has no problems whatsoever. So there's that, and it's bigger, it feels better in the hand, and it actually, the game was designed for this. So, but people will defend and just make these weird side. Somebody was talking about Super Mario All-Stars on the Super Nintendo, and I'm like, forgetting that it was 3 games, 4 games, because it was Super Mario 1, then it was Super Mario The Lost Levels, which is Super Mario 2 Japan, and it was also Super Mario 2 North America, or the West, I guess, and then Super Mario Brothers 3. And those games were completely remade with Super Nintendo power behind them. It wasn't like Ninja Gaiden Trilogy, which was just straight ports from the NES. The games were completely redone, and I don't want to even play Mario 1, 2, or 3. Maybe I'll play 1, the original, but I'd rather play the other games with that version, the All-Stars version, because that's how I remember them now in my brain. So I don't know why he was trying to make a comparison with that. It's strange the amount of stuff people come up with to defend, to deflect Switch criticism. It's weird, and there's really no footing. So we had our Direct. Let me see, get caught up with you guys here in the chat before I start talking Direct. Let's see. I agree. I was pretty meh about the Direct, says Inglorious. What we shouldn't expect is Nintendo games, says Retro. Everyone will be pleased always. There are some things I'm excited for in the Direct, but the lack of other stuff also excites me for the future. Actually, E3 is not here yet. E3? T didn't say it was mad. No, I didn't say it was mad. Deny. Let's see. Retro Death. Deniers deny.
Broken.
Can't help you. Let's see.
No.
Indifferent. Oh, indifferent. Yeah, he's explaining I was indifferent. All hail the mighty cubes, says Richard Death. Nintendo has changed for sure. We still don't know where they are gonna land. What's true is that they are more resourceful than before, using others to reach success. Maybe not the way we expect. Yeah, I mean, they obviously Switch is getting more games, but I would question what games are it's getting, or is the Switch getting? It's not like we're getting on par third party or anything like that, which I never really cared for, but people act like we are, and that's what annoys me. I don't care for most part because I'm not going to play overpriced late ports from third party either on the Switch. So overpriced late and lesser. I remember people complaining about that on Wii U. So it's weird that it's acceptable on the Switch. Not really, but that's how it goes on the Switch. People switch their entire arguments. So Skyward Sword HD in quotations, says Retro Death. I did not even play that on Wii. I need to get that now for Wii. Skyward Sword. Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, yeah, obviously you go with what's more convenient. But for me, there's no way to play Skyward Sword outside of using this glorious device right here. So, to me, it's hampered if you don't play it that way. But some people don't care for motion, and I get that. So, I still have mine, says Jonathan R. Was expecting more quality JRPG titles since the DS was being put in the back burner. And I'm thinking you're talking about 3DS MD20. Worst thing is a lot of Defendos are defending Skyward Sword HD. At this point, if I am a modern Nintendo fan, I would go ahead with, or if I was modern Nintendo, I would go ahead with Metroid Prime HD and charge $100 because the shills would push it. Like, yeah, they totally would. So if they'll pay $60 for Skyward Sword HD, imagine what they'll pay for Metroid Prime Trilogy HD. And maybe that's why we're not getting it, because Nintendo's like, I could charge that price for one game. Why would I put a trilogy together? I could charge that price for one game, and our consumers will defend it. We don't even have to say a word. So, yeah. You can fight the imprisoned now wherever you go. It's a stretch of death. Yeah, it's one of the things I couldn't stand about that game is how many times you fight the imprisoned. The most uneventful fights. Very, obviously super similar and boring to me. That's one of the things that took me out of the game a couple times. And also I didn't care for the teardrop sequences, collecting the teardrops or the whatever they were. Didn't care for those. So yeah, one GWX. Yeah, I did think it could have looked better. I must say they could have polished it more for sure. I saw that. Yeah, I mean, that was the first thing I noticed. I was like, is this HD? I mean, I can see that it's 16 by 9, but is it HD? Is it really HD? I couldn't, I remember seeing Wind Waker and being like, holy crap, that looks great. Even Twilight Princess, like, they went in to Twilight Princess. They didn't just up-res Twilight Princess. They went in and changed textures. Like, there's new textures, some hinting at Breath of the Wild textures in the game. So they put in some work in that. And it also came with a really cool amiibo, one of my favorites, Wolf Link in Midna. So, and it was $50, wasn't it? I don't think it was 60. I think it was 50 for that package. But these Nintendo consumers today will not only buy this stuff, but they'll chop your head off for even bringing up the fact that it's kind of anti-consumer. So, what's the point? Other than to just speak my principle, and that's what I'm going to do regardless. Because I was told, well, then don't buy it. I love the don't buy it defense. Like, that means it's okay. They just want me to be quiet, right? I'm just told to be quiet and don't buy it. I'm not allowed to critique. They just want you to go away. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. You don't like it, then don't buy it. Yeah, I'm not going to buy it, and I'm still going to talk about it. Sorry. So, yeah. Sorry, not sorry. Let's see. Nintendo needs gamers at its constituents, at the executive offices and PR department. No doubt. No doubt. I would do that job for free if I thought it actually would help. I think Iwata just understood what his actual fans wanted since he was a gamer also. I mean, no doubt, DGC. I mean, that was a big part of it, But then you can't just put it on that, because even Hiroshi Yamauchi, he was a business dude, but he actually still cared about that side of, the company. He cared about, like, bringing value. That was one of Nintendo's biggest things. Value, value, value. They always cared about value. What is the value of this? What is the value of that? That's why we don't get a lot of stuff. back then, or stuff that we actually wanted, because they were like, well, how can we make this a great value? They actually care about that. That's in their business model. So yeah, they're different. They're different now. They got some young hotshot, Wall Street type running the company now, and he's all about the numbers, and he's turning Nintendo fans into being all about the numbers. I mean, these guys will flip and backflip and skip and holler about how many, Switches have been sold and how many copies of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe have been sold, like it means something for them. I want the games. I'm a gamer. I'm a Nintendo gamer, and I want Nintendo games. And it's also weird to hear Nintendo fans or see Nintendo fans act like they don't know what you mean when you say Nintendo games. I was told basically that I shouldn't care about Nintendo games because not me, but somebody else, was getting 100 hours in their Switch, and they had a backlog. Like, again, that's another defense. The my backlog defense, not my backlog, but their backlog, their backlog defense. I have a backlog too, but sometimes backlogs are backlogs for a reason. You're not like, you want to play these games, but it's not like overly exciting. You want to jump and skip to them real quick. And that's not always the case, but I'm saying sometimes you have a backlog for a reason. It's not that you just have so many games that you can't keep up. No, that's not really the case. But the my backlog defense, so why do you have a problem? Is that's another weird defense of Switch or any gaming console or whatever. It's just strange. Mecha Art T, what those people are referring to are called Nintendrones. They will defend Nintendo no matter what. And I hate being one of the people that, like, I never thought I would be on this side of that argument. I thought when I was defending Wii U, I was defending Wii U's merits. But apparently for a lot of people, it was just good to hear me defend Nintendo. Not actually, they weren't really listening to what I was defending. They just were happy that I was defending. And so I hadn't realized that until the Switch came out. And if you go back to my first year Switch, I was over the moon about the Switch. 2017 to, let's say, mid 2018, I couldn't be more happier with my Switch. But like I said, something changed. Something changed right after that. They don't buy it excuse. Wait a minute. The don't buy it excuse is another way of saying you're in the minority. Shut up and let Nintendo keep us happy. Right. The don't buy it excuse is, I don't want to hear that. Ow, it hurts. It hurts for me to hear criticisms. Ow. Don't buy it. Ow, ouch. That's what I hear when I see that. Yamuchi-san is having a Megaton announcement role in the afterlife. Megaton announcement role in the afterlife, says 1GWX. I was moderately happy with the Direct since it wasn't just Wii U ports. I mean, that is something to be happy about. At least it wasn't just a bunch of Wii U ports. But then again, DGC, there's not a lot of games left. So that's kind of a low bar in some ways, but I get what you're saying. But there's not a lot of Wii U ports because really there's not a whole lot left. Now the Wii U ports Wii U ports that should be there, why aren't they there? I've been told a million times that, it's okay for these Wii U ports. Switch, now they can actually sell blah, blah. But they're putting up games that already sold pretty well, even on the Wii U. New Super Mario Deluxe, did that need to have help? It sold pretty well for what it is. It's not a great, 2D side-scrolling Mario game. It sold 5-6 million copies on the Wii U. That's pretty good. But where's stuff like Fatal Frame? why not bring something like that and actually, give us a game that we never, even over here in the West, we never got on, we never got physically, bring that game, I applauded something like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, even though it still didn't sell that great, clearly. Hell, even Pikmin 3. I'd rather have Pikmin 4. I wouldn't mind Pikmin 3 if I heard an announcement for Pikmin 4, but we didn't get that. So, spare me, this talk about, now they can sell on the Switch. They have a chance. Let's see. Mecha Art wants Devil's Third. Yeah, I mean, that game, I think Nintendo just wants to forget about that game. But, I mean, I had fun with it. And, they only had a limited amount of copies. I think to buy a used copy of that game today is like $200. Bring stuff like that. That's value, Kahuna Silver, we all love the Switch at first, but how they've been carrying the Switch, success ports after ports, it still pains me. The new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe sold better than Super Mario Maker 2. I mean, that is atrocious. That is just embarrassing for me as a Nintendo fan. I mean, like I said, these new Nintendo consumers, they love it. They love the sales. Justification. I don't need games. I just give me the sales. Again, if you're somebody who only has a Switch as a console and never owned a Wii U, the Switch might be the greatest thing ever. But for most of us, the rest of us, these are games that we already played before, run better on something else, or cheaper on something else. It does nothing for me and people like me. And there's a lot of people like me. There's a lot of people who are buying these games again who already have them on 360 or whatever, or already played them, have them on Xbox, whatever. And they still, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. Another game I wanted also to get was that Dragon game that was supposed to come out on Xbox One, but for the port to come to PC. Dragon game. I don't know what game you're talking about there, Mecha Art. Honestly, I can understand Xenoblade Chronicles X isn't on the Switch because it was more taxing than Xenoblade Chronicles. And draw distance on it was bad. That game would be better on an upgraded Switch performance-wise. Okay, yeah, I mean, you basically had to download portions of that game. Like, that was one of the first things. It was unprecedented for a Nintendo title where you had to download it to the hard drive. So, I don't know. Switch only comes with 32 gigs of memory. And I think those packs added up to like 22 or 23 gigs. So, you're taking a lot. Scalebound. Scalebound. Okay. Thanks, Major Malfunction. The more anti-consumer practices Nintendo does is the very reason I mostly game on PC. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I don't want to be here. I'm a Nintendo fan for life. This does me no, it gives me no happiness to be here. And I was talking with the boys, Juice's Loose crew, and I'm like, it's going to be like PC, Xbox Series X is going to be like my primary console. Like, Nintendo has always been my primary console, and I'm thinking, these last 4 years of Switch or whatever it's going to be, I don't know what it's going to be. I can't see myself like gaming primarily on it, especially when they're not bringing me new big games. And that's a problem when they said they're merging studios from the 3DS, their handheld. How can I get bigger and more stuff when Nintendo was, in dire straits? And had a handheld, a 3DS to cater to, along with their home console. And people were complaining at the time, that the 3DS is getting catered to more. And in some instances that was true. But you still were getting games on both systems. And so you go to only having one system to deal with. and you get less. The online is a joke. Coming from Wii U to Nintendo Switch Online is pathetic. Again, I'm not even going to hold them to other company standards because they're way behind as far as that goes. But to even Nintendo's own standards, they went backwards with the Switch. The Wii U came out a media hub, like if you wanted to use it or not, it was there. Like again, I say I don't care about all that stuff on my game console, but a lot of people do. It's very convenient for a lot of people, and everybody else has it. Every other console has it. You have a tablet-looking console that doesn't do these things that it should be doing, especially in its form factors. It's just strange. And it's funny because I'm looking at Jeff Young's comment. The Switch is a Band-Aid for the Wii U. And a lot of people act like it's the opposite. Is that, the Switch is the culmination of what they wanted to do with the Wii U. Maybe when it comes to handheld, being able to actually take your gamepad with you, like that was a dream that wasn't fulfilled on the Wii U. So you can take your gamepad with you, technically, now with the Switch, but look what else you're losing. Look at all the things you lost. Let's not even get into the quality or lack thereof of the Joy-Con. I thought the Joy-Con was the coolest thing on the planet. I only have him now because I have to have him for certain games. I definitely do not play handheld with them anymore because I have the Split Pad Pro. That's the way to play. But it's sad. So let's go ahead and get into. We'll come back to some of this stuff. We'll get into the Direct itself. I'm not going to run through game by game or any of that stuff. If you saw my edited live reaction, you saw the stuff that even interested me for the most part. I think I probably missed a couple games because I wanted to, because everybody was putting out a 55-minute plus reactions video, and I don't want to do that. For me, that's too long. And honestly, I didn't have a lot of great reactions to stuff, but one of the games I did have a really good reaction to was Mario Golf. I like it. I love Mario Golf. Always been a huge fan of it since N64. Mario Golf taught me the game of golf. I've said it 1,000 times. I didn't understand the game of golf. I didn't understand the rules and how it worked until I bought, on a whim, Mario Golf. Because, Mario, games are usually pretty quality, and I wanted a cool new game to play. And I got really into Mario Golf on N64 and then on GameCube as well. And I'm super excited for that. And they got a story mode. Again, but there's also that worry that I've never had before when it comes to Nintendo is that, okay, it has a story mode, but will it be bare bones? Will it be something like Mario Tennis? I can't remember whatever the name of the Switch one is. I can't remember the name. Will it be something like that, Capable Ty said, I wish they made Mario Strikers. Me too, man. And here's the thing. I thought that we'd be making more stuff like that because, again, they're not catering to a handheld. I thought we'd get a lot more of these side games that we've had in the past. Games that don't have, they don't take too much of a budget. They don't have, seemingly wouldn't have too big of a development cycle. Even like F-Zeros and Wave Races and stuff. I thought for sure we have that stuff on Switch. We might still get it. I might get surprised by that. I hope to be surprised by that. But we're 4 years in. And, Nintendo's acting like they just released this console, with the secrecy. And, I don't understand it. I think fans are still going to buy your console. They're still going to buy your games, regardless of this whole trying to be secret, trying to hold off. And that's another thing that got swatted down, but I'm sure fans will continue to say, the thing they got swatted down to, oh, well, Nintendo doesn't anymore want to show games too early. And here we are in a direct where they show a game a year plus out, at least a year out, in Splatoon 3. And the Triangle strategy game, it's not Nintendo, but it's, obviously, it's, it's going to be exclusives, I'm guessing, at least for a while. Just the same way Octopath Traveler was. And that game's a year out. So don't give me this. They didn't want to show stuff. I actually feel like Nintendo was a little bit self-aware, and they were like, this Direct. It felt like they stuck too many Directs together. Direct minis. This type of games you would see in a Direct mini, and stuck them together, and then threw a couple of, cool things on. Obviously, like Pyra and Mythra and Smash, and something like Mario Golf, and a couple of other things. But I mean, stuff, they spend a lot of time on stuff. Again, games that are coming out, a year or more from now, or stuff that should have been a quick little thing in a reel, like the Ninja Gaiden trilogy collection, another port, another collection of games from 360 and even original Xbox. They spent some good time on some of that stuff, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, so I don't, I mean, it's like I said, I had almost no expectations going in, and they had a chance to, and they didn't have to do it, and obviously they didn't do it, but they had a chance to really blow my skull open with that Direct, and they didn't. They did pretty much what I thought they would do. There's a lot of expectations. Fans think, oh, it's been a long time. Look how long this Direct is. It's going to be bangers and bangers and bangers. That's not how Nintendo thinks. They're very business focused right now. And you can tell from Directs like this and Directs like their partner Directs. People, Nintendo makes a good chunk of money off of their licensing fees. So I think that also ties into why we don't have more major releases. I think they're just kind of sitting back saying, hey, we're making almost pure profit on, Wii U ports. We're making all this money licensing all these games. I mean, they've sold hundreds of millions of copies of games, and they get a chunk out of every game that's sold there. So, they're making money hand over fist. They weren't even doing this on the Wii. The Wii was a console success. It wasn't necessarily like a games sold success. Like outside of a few games, outside of a few phenomenon type games like Wii Fit, Wii Play, Mario Kart Wii, stuff like that. Outside of that, they weren't selling like 20, 30 million copies of games, especially like third party stuff, They weren't making a ton of money off licensing fees on the Wii, even though it sold 100 million units. They made more money on the hardware and more money on those kind of Wii titles, like Wii Fit, Wii Sports, Wii Play, Wii Mario Kart Wii, stuff like that sold astronomical numbers. So I think they're just like they're not used to making bank on games like this, on games from the Wii U like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That Zelda, is a 20 plus million seller. Mario is a 20 plus million, 3D Mario game is a 20 plus million seller. And then they have like, why is this thing making any money? Stuff like Mario Party. Super Mario Party is 10 million units sold. So I think they're just like, we're making, business savvy moves. We're just being business savvy. There's no point in, and it bothers me because Nintendo games have never been like high budget games to where they were so risky. Breath of the Wild only needed to sell 2 million copies for Nintendo to be successful, for it to be a successful game. It sold 20 million more than that. Like it's way beyond successful, and they're still selling them. And so they're like, why release this stuff? Another Splatoon. Like, I like Splatoon, but Splatoon needs to do more things. This is going to be the sixth Splatoon we've had third Splatoon we've had in 6 years. And it's a new IP. They're in, jeopardy of burning me out on it. Especially if they continue to not really have a ton of content in it and, lock modes and stuff like Salmon Run, and not have a real viable, first or one player adventure a mode to the game. I'm not big on spending $60 for online only multiplayer games. That's just not something I do. I don't do it for Call of Duty. I don't do it for stuff I don't like doing that. And if you don't give me a meaty campaign, I'm pretty much done. So Splatoon 3, I may not buy. It depends on Nintendo if I'm going to buy it or not. That Game Collector new Mario Party is trash. It is. And for it to sell that much, and for them to still have done nothing to it, 10 million copies sold of that game. I think it's like 12 now. And they've added no new boards. They've done nothing. It's just wrong to me. Like, how can you not support that game when it's so heavily supported? But then again, why would you? If people continue to buy it, and you have these new Nintendo consumers who would rather argue with you than argue with Nintendo, who's not bringing what they need to bring. So, the Switch is wicked, says Sim. Sim, what is up? Sima. No, I would contend that the Switch is no longer wicked. It was wicked at one point, but I'm not feeling its wickedness anymore. Sorry, Sim. Sorry. Miiverse would be amazing on Switch. Yeah, Miiverse would be amazing. Spot Pass. Why can't we have Spot Pass and stuff like that on the Switch? You can take your Switch on the go. Why did those things go away? Those things were so cool to me, especially when you went to conventions. Obviously, we can't go currently, but there will become a time where we can go back to conventions again. And cool features like that, the 3DS had, that would connect you with other gamers. I love taking my 3DS places just to, come back home, open it up, and meet somebody new, and to show where they're from and all that kind of stuff. That's cool. But Nintendo's just giving up on this stuff. It's crazy. Let's go back and see if I can catch up with you guys. I really wanted to play Bowser's Fury, but don't know if I can bring myself to pick it up, says Inglourious Bastard. Same here, man. Like, I want to play that. But it's like, I don't want to spend $60 to play something I'm going to beat in one sitting. I'm probably going to beat that game one sitting and, 100% it in two sittings. So my thing right now is like, I'll pick it up a couple years down the line on eBay, cart only, maybe for $35 I can find it, just the cart, because I won't care. Because I already have Super Mario 3D World on Wii U in a case. So just to be able to play for a price that I feel reasonable, I'll probably do that when it comes to Bowser's Fury. Sadly. Because they should give me more to make me want to play that, Throw in 3D World or something, or 3D Land, to that package. Then that would be like, all right, I'll get it now, but they're not doing much. Let's see. Visor Grunt. During the Wii U days, a lot of Nintendo news channels told us all the blue water strategy stuff with Wii was damaged, is what damaged Wii U. Now Nintendo is doing it again with Switch meeting praise. Yeah, and you know what's funny? Good point, Visor. Also, there was a lot of contention around commercials and goofy, corny, mom jeans, dad wearing, commercials on the Wii U. And rightfully so, because some of those commercials were pretty bad. But the Switch gets a lot of those commercials as well. They got a really corny ass commercial for 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Super cheesy, straight out of the Wii U era, corny commercial. And you don't hear it because sales. Sales means crickets. I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get why sales affects your enjoyment of a console, changes your opinion. Some of my favorite consoles on this planet, 3 of my favorite consoles of all time, 2 didn't sell 10 million units, and 1 sold 13.5 million units, being the Wii U. And I'm talking Wii U, Sega Dreamcast, Sega Saturn. 3 of my favorite consoles of all time, and they sold like ass. But it didn't matter to me because there were so many stellar experiences on those consoles. That's what matters to me as a gamer. And so I just don't get it. Like I can't wrap my mind around. I can't bring my brain to care about that stuff. It's weird to me how people do that. I don't get it, Visor. Can you tell me? Like, I don't get it. Capable Tie 7. T, do you think it feels now like the last days of Wii U felt? I feel like Switch 2 might come out next year with the huge lineup. I mean, I hope that's true. I don't know if it feels like the last year of Wii U. Because we knew. We knew the Switch was coming, right? So we don't know right now. We don't know. And I doubt. Because Nintendo said the Switch is halfway through its life. So I doubt you're getting a new console. Now, they could surprise us, I guess. Nintendo has done, crazier things. But I just don't see it happening. Why would you jump off this gravy train? That's like making a Mario Kart 9 right now. Why would you do that? It makes no sense. And it's not going to happen until Mario Kart 8 sales, 8 Deluxe sales, start falling to a level to where it's like, all right, now we can put out a 9. Yeah. Then I can understand it. But so it's like, why would you do that to Switch? Why would you cut Switch's legs off when it's selling as well as it's selling? Especially when you have 2 new consoles on the market that have pretty much dropped the ball. They're hard to find, and they don't really have any, must-have new experiences on them to begin with. I need to do a video about that as well. So Switch is in a sweet spot right now, to where it caught momentum early on, and I said it would. I'm gonna pat myself in the back once again because a lot of these milquetoast Nintendo YouTubers did not say. Some of them were even skeptical of the Wii U or the Switch in the beginning. They want you to forget about that. But day one of that trailer dropping, I said the Nintendo Switch is going to be a huge success. I said it. I got videos on it. Mark it down. And some of these, again, they were skeptical. Does the dock have more power? You remember those days when, maybe the dock gives it more power, because they weren't, from the beginning, they weren't happy with the power of the Switch. So they were like putting up, rumor videos about the dock. Maybe the dock gives it more power, and what do they call it? Subsidize? I can't remember what it's called. But you know what I'm talking about. I had no videos like that, nor did I care about any of that. All I wanted was games. I wanted new Nintendo games. It was a new console coming, and with the promise of new Nintendo experiences. That's all I care about. But again, some of these milquetoast dudes who are, pretty successful on YouTube right now, they didn't care about any. All they cared about the power. How much power? Please have more power. And of course, it didn't. And when that went away, but the Switch was successful, they had to start pretending to care about games on Wii U that they never care about. They didn't seem to care about when the Wii U was out. Some of these dudes didn't even buy a Wii U. So it's just like, I'm going to be real with you. You may not like where I'm coming from, but some of you may not like where I'm coming from, but understand that I am being 100% real with you. There's no ulterior motives. I could do what they do and maybe find more success. But I can't. It's not in my sight. I'm not built that way. I'm a real dude from the real streets. And I can't be a salesman. I can't be a shuck and jiver like these dudes do. I can't do it. So you get what you get. But understand that what you're getting is 100% real. All the time. There's no ulterior motives. There's no agenda here. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. But I'm going to tell you the truth. And a lot of these dudes, they've cultivated these audiences. They've warped these dudes' brains into mediocrity, into loving and accepting mediocrity. And that's their structure they built around themselves, and they can't have anybody chipping away at those walls because it's their livelihoods. And I get that part. But I think you can still be successful. I see a lot of channels that are successful that tell the truth. But maybe some guys just feel that they're not creative enough to do that and maintain an audience. I don't know. So that is what it is. I mean, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with myself, and I'm going to be honest with you guys on how I feel about these things. And I'm a Nintendo fan. I don't like to be, here. I want to be where I was in 2017. Just super happy over the moon about my Nintendo console. But I can't be that way right now. I know they can do better. They're making money hand over fist, and it makes no sense for them to be where they are with the Switch as far as giving core Nintendo fans what they should be giving us. Are there some stellar games on Switch? Of course there are. There definitely are. But there should be more. There should be more. There should be more variety as well. And we're just not getting it for whatever reasons. And I think it's just a business move. It's like, we're going to play it super safe for the most part, and we're not going to do much. I mean, because Nintendo's always been that company that has been crazy. They've done crazy things. And so even if they're half as crazy as they used to be, it's still better than the competition, right? So I just think a lot of guys are like, they're worried to even criticize because they're worried that will go away. They think this criticism will make things go away instead of make things come to pass. There's just this fear of criticism. For that reason, I think they're just afraid that, they're not going to like us anymore. I want them to be my friend. And that's just not how it works. Let's see. 1GWX. I think he means scale. Okay, Scalebound is still talking about that. Currently, a former Nintendo Switch owner that was not impressed by the Direct, but I gotta give props to them pushing software compared to the other two. Yeah, I mean they are. They're definitely doing that. That's what I said. I mean, because currently, PlayStation and Xbox aren't doing a whole lot. And they don't have a whole lot of systems for consumers to get. you know. So yeah. Call me Chemo. The Switch is the Wii U Pro. In some ways, but it also, like I said, you know, lacks some stuff. It's not a Wii U because you don't get two screens. You don't get that experience. And also, you know, some of the feature set online stuff that Wii U gave us, you know, along with the gamepad feature. So, in some ways, yes, but in some ways, no. Let's see. I'm disappointed in Nintendo's shunning of Metroid, F-Zero, Star Fox, almost anything. Can you imagine if I was to tell you, hey guys, let's say late 2016, late 2016, if I was to come to you guys and say, hey, Nintendo Switch is going to sell 80 million units, right? It's going to sell 80 million units in 4 years. And in those 4 years, we're going to have no Star Fox. We're going to have no Metroid. We're going to have no Mario Kart, the system's own Mario Kart. Would you believe me? Would you have believed me? I don't think you would. I think most people would be like, you're crazy. There's no way Nintendo will have sold 80 million consoles and not have Star Foxes and F-Zeros and Wave Race, whatever, all these, franchises or even side franchises like Strikers, Mario Golf. I mean, it still isn't out yet, so you got to count that too. People will be like, you're crazy. You're crazy. And then I can add on, feature set as far as Nintendo Switch Online, what they offered. Oh, there's going to be no N64 yet, no GameCube, no Wii. None of that's going to be on Nintendo Switch Online after 80 million sold in 4 years. And also no Netflix. Just to throw another one out there. There's still not going to be a Netflix app on your Nintendo Switch. Again, I don't care about that personally, but I know there's a lot of people that care about that. And it just doesn't make any sense. The goddamn Wii had Netflix, the Wii. Why doesn't it Switch? So, yeah. People care. People say, okay, you didn't like the Direct, right? You didn't like it, but it was good for a lot of people. Why don't you care about those people? Well, I ask the same thing. Why don't you care about people who care about Netflix on their Switch? Why don't you care about people who care about Star Fox and F-Zero on the Switch? Why don't you care about them? You want me to care about people who liked the Direct or loved the Direct, but you won't care about people on my end when it comes to these things. So a little hypocritical, you think? So yeah, sorry to hear that, Jeff, a former Switch owner. But I get it. Unforgiven, aren't you excited for Splatoon 2-2? Shut up, Unforgiven. Skyward Sword on PC, emulated with 4K resolution, running at 100 frames per second. Yeah, I'm sure it was gorgeous. You saw it on the PC. You said Mecha Art. I'm sure it destroyed what we're getting for $60. 9 years later after the original game. I mean, isn't there something to be said about that? We're getting all these ports and, games from forever ago, but we can't get stuff, like Metroid. We can't get stuff. We can't have stuff like Metroid. And yeah, the development cycle, it would be out now. Okay, that's true, but what kind of incompetence led to that? Are they not at fault for the incompetence that led to the having to restart Metroid's development cycle? Is that not on Nintendo? Like, do we coddle them for that as well? That they went 2 years, that they let this company go that long and produce something that wasn't up to their standards? Isn't that on them as well? I would think so. But I'm sure there's a lot of people. No, it's only the other guy's fault, not Nintendo. So yeah, no. Dr. 20XX. I'm disappointed in Nintendo's shunning of Metroid. I read that already, didn't I? Maybe not. Metroid, F-Zero, Star Fox, and almost anything that isn't Mario, Zelda, or Pokemon. And they barely got Zelda. I mean, Zelda Breath of the Wild is a Wii U game. So 4 years, and you could also say that about Breath of the Wild. 5 years, I mean, we got Skyward Sword. So, I mean, I guess it's comparable on the Wii. If you look at the Wii, where you say Twilight Princess was a GameCube game. But we at least got Link's crossbow training. So that was something. And that was supposed to be a full-on game, but Nintendo changed their minds. It wasn't just supposed to be... I mean, it is a full-on game, but it was supposed to be like a kind of a side Zelda game. Zelda adventure game. Also, the online infrastructure, Nintendo used its old, like, 1998. Yeah, I mean, that came out recently, didn't it? Like, confirmed, like, anybody surprised by that? Nobody. That was barely a headline. That was barely a blip. People were like, yeah, 1998, that sounds about right. Sad. And pathetic. Windows 98. Yeah, Windows 98. Those servers, online servers we're running with, or recognized Windows 98. It's crazy. Crazy, man. Nintendo guy, I just watched the Nintendo 3 from 96 sizzle reel immediately after watching the Direct, and the difference is night and day. I mean, bruh. Mega Art Man, or who said that? Nintendo guy, man. You can't tell these new Nintendo consumers that. They just won't understand it, or they don't want to understand it. Again, compare Nintendo to compare the Nintendo. You don't have to compare them to the quote-unquote competition. Just compare them to themselves. First 3 years of any of their consoles, and tell me that the Switch is better as far as what Nintendo put out. Now, you can say, well, third party this or that, but, other than the GameCube, it wasn't like comparable third party visually. So, and Switch is also not comparable third party. So, again, just the excitement around, and I felt a similar excitement to that with the Switch early on. It just had disappointed me post that excitement. It wasn't quite N64. Nothing will ever be that, I don't think, again. But yeah, just looking at those old E3s before N64 or during GameCube, before or during Wii, before and during, like, there was a lot of excitement from the fan base. And I just feel like people, they don't even know what they're defending at this point. They're just defending out of reflex. Let's see. Matthew Shea. Wii U definitely had more functionality, like the ability to organize your games how you want. Yeah, one of my pet peeves on this console. Let me put it up. I had to design it myself because I was so bored with how it looks and just stuff like that. One of my biggest pet peeves, and I'm sure I pointed this out before, is, let me see. I'm getting all kind of glare. Wrong side. This little thing here, this little basement where your games go to die, especially if they're digital, my goodness. And you can see in here, I mean, they're in alphabetical order. I think you can change that or whatever. But they go into this little basement, and I forget about a lot of the stuff, and it's sad. Poor floor kids is below the floor. There's Earth Atlantis. I haven't even played you yet. I bought you on a sale, and I haven't even touched you yet. I forget you were down here. I forget you're in this dungeon, this Switch dungeon where games go to disappear and die. So I have to scroll through this, But I should be able to make folders. So I remember this stuff. I can, like I did on Wii U. I got my folders, and I could, I knew what I had in them. I could remember. and they were in my face. I didn't have to go into this basement to see them. So yeah, it's crazy. Let's see. Where my mecha art? It kind of stings for me to say this, but Nintendo has become a lazy former shell of itself. I mean, it is, and but it just bothers me that more fans don't see that or don't care to see it, because when they see it, it's going to end up being too late. You know, it's going to be too late. They're going to be like Capcom, with still making consoles, but Capcom. Capcom is getting better as of late, maybe in the last year and a half or so. I do acknowledge that. But, you know, Capcom of, say, 2015, 2016, 2017 was pathetic. And it was all about squeezing profits. So, let's see. Mario Golf is a triple hell yes, says Retro. Shadowboxing, I strangely miss Yamauchi because even though he had high standards for Nintendo and third-party devs, he still knew what games the core audience and casuals wanted. Yeah, he had high standards, and we got to enjoy those high standards. That was a good thing, you know. It sucked having to wait for things, you know, stuff getting delayed. But when you got the game, man, you knew it was quality. And, you know, it were games you were going to be playing for the next 20 years of your life. And that's happened. 30 years of your life. You know? There's a reason why, you know, Super Nintendo, not Nintendo 64 as much. Actually, no, the games are, you know, definitely going up in price and somewhat expensive. You know, GameCube, oh my gosh. There's a reason why these games are super expensive. And because people still play them and want them. Hey, Nintendo, people still want to play your games. How about giving us away on the Switch, your console, where you have so much reach to make that happen? Again, for me, I don't care as much. But for the fans, cause, like I said, for me, I don't care as much because I already have all these consoles and games. There's not much Nintendo could do for me. But for a lot of these new wave fans, they don't even realize what they're not getting. They don't realize what they're missing. So that's why a lot of times they defend stuff, because they don't understand. They don't know any better. You know, they don't know any better on what they're not getting. So you have all this reach right now, Nintendo. You have this install base. Unlike any before, even the Wii U, because a lot of those fans on Wii U weren't checking for your core games. You're in a situation where you got a lot of core gamers on your current console, and you're not catering to them very much. You know, they're having to defend ports. You know, Wii U and 360 ports, and it's just a strange place for them to be in. I feel bad. Let's see. Where am I? Mecha Art. I would love to see a remake of Demon's Crest, the SNES game, but redone from the ground up. Yeah, that was a great game. Matt Jazz. I wish more people were excited for Samurai Warriors 5 because it was a big highlight for me. Oh yeah, I like Samurai Warriors 5. Like, I'm such a Muso fan, a Samurai fan. Samurai Warriors or Dynasty Warriors fan, that I don't really get excited for them, but I'm going to buy it. I still play them. But yeah, I mean, if you're not a fan, if you're not a fan of that series right now, you're probably not going to be a fan. It's kind of like Monster Hunter. Like, if you're not a fan of Monster Hunter Rise really isn't going to be that game that brings you in, you know? You just have to already be a fan at this point. Let's see. Nintendo guy. Nintendo was more willing to put RPG mechanics in Mario Golf than a new Paper Mario game. Oh man, that's so true. That's painful. Oh man. Capable Tide. Have you noticed Nintendo has pretty much stopped selling games below $60? Pokemon Snap and Skyward Sword HD both should not be $60, but are. Yeah, again, that's a subjective thing. I obviously feel that way. You obviously feel that way. Especially with Skyward Sword. Pokemon Snap, at least it's a new game. Obviously, it's not that meaty of an experience, but you can have a lot of fun with it. And I don't know how long or how much stuff is in this version. The original one wasn't that long of a game. But, you know, it was a discovery. You discovered new ways to get Pokemon to come out and to, be able to take photos of them and stuff. So the game had longer legs than it looked like initially, but yeah, man, $60 is, for some of these games, is come on, Let's see. Matthew Shea, they could literally just port F-Zero X with updated models, and I'd pay $60 at this point. Just want something F-Zero. Man, I hate to say that because I'm harping on these ports and whatnot. But yeah, porting it and putting it online with 32 players, I might do it then. I might shut up. I'll shut my face because the game is already gorgeous. It's already 60 frames, obviously. If you got 32 players online, which is, not crazy. They had 32 player online games, two multiplayer games on the Wii. What was it? Medal of Honor Heroes, or one of those games, or 32 players online. So it's not something that's crazy. They do it on the Wii. They can do it on the Switch. Yeah. I would maybe want them to not just give me F-Zero GX or F-Zero X, but give me GX and give me F-Zero X, stuff like that, and make it a compilation. I would be more down for that being $60, but yeah, there's not a whole lot you can bring to an F-Zero game, but new tracks. But for a lot of us, that's great. We want new tracks. If you can give Mario Golf a story mode, you can give a new story mode for F-Zero. I mean, come on. Let's see. One GWX, more than one game is coming in 2022. Yep. Mostly RPG, says Cornelius. Retro Death, is 4 months in advance too early now? Second half of 2021 got jacked. Right. I mean, 4 months. Is that really too much? I don't think so. They don't know if the games are done. When did this become a thing where it's okay to defend a company for not knowing if you're going to have your game out in 4 months? That's another strange development in these new Nintendo consumers, or just gamers in general. It's a strange occurrence. Mecha Art, does anyone remember watching Attack of the Drones parody video T released back in the Wii U days? Which one? I had a few of those. Capable Ties, Switch 2 is coming out in 2022 with Breath of the Wild 2. Breath of the Wild 2, or whatever it's going to be called, should come out this year, along with the Zelda anniversary. It's been 4 years. Actually, it's been 5 years since Breath of the Wild has been finished. So, because Breath of the Wild was held for a year for the Switch launch. So it's been 5 years. Breath of the Wild had a pretty long development cycle. So I think it's time this year. Capable Tie. Oh, I read that already. Mech Art. Let me see. Mech Art. It's a parody video of Black Bond and Secure Vaginas or something. Oh yeah. Well, those were. Well, actually, oh yeah, that was all in the same video. Yeah, that was one of my. That took me so long to make. It took me like 2 weeks. Yeah, I did a few of those quote unquote animated Attack of the Drones videos. Most of them were animated, the Attack of the Drones stuff. But it takes so long. Samurai Warriors 5 announcement made my day. I love Musou titles. Here, Chris. Here. Glorious Bastards. I don't even want to pay for the online to play Splatoon 3. Exactly. I'm so disappointed and jaded when it comes to Switch Online. I don't even want to pay for it at this point. You're gonna have to justify me paying for Switch Online past my subscription for the year, because I'm not coming back, man. You got to do something, Nintendo, and maybe, I mean, you got enough subscribers. You don't care about losing me, so it's not like I'm making some ultimatum. You better do it or else I'm quitting. I know my ending my subscription won't matter to you in the big picture, but I can't justify Switch Online anymore, and I don't see how anybody can. Shadowbox and Splatoon got a new sequel with gameplay shown before Metroid. Let that sink in. Crazy. Again, if I had told you in 2016 that we get Splatoon 3, actually we hadn't known about Splatoon 2 at that point. So if I told you right after Splatoon 2 came out, so summer 2017, if I said to you, hey, Nintendo Switch fans, you're going to see Splatoon 3 before you see Metroid Prime 4 or any new Metroid game, would you believe me? Probably not. But those people who wouldn't believe me will defend what they're getting right now. Crazy. Mecha are welcome to PC gaming. We have free online emulation, customability, different form factors, sizes, cases, chipsets, budget to enthusiast price, builds, and so much more. I see myself getting more and more into PC gaming going forward. I used to play on PC back in the day. I currently have a PC, gaming PC that I built. Not the greatest, but pretty capable. But I see myself spending more money and time in the PC gaming if Nintendo continues on this path. Sadly, and I'll just I'll play my 1 or 2, hopefully 2 Nintendo games a year on that console just to have it to play, and then mostly focus on either my Series X or my PC, and that's where I'll be. Where we all also have backwards compatibility with all games. Yeah, I mean, PC is pretty glorious. The only thing as a collector I don't like about PC is everything's digital. But at this point, I love my collection. I'll just keep collecting my old stuff and just game on my PC, So I never thought I'd be here, but Nintendo was pushing me to do this. It's pushing me to be there, I thought we were gonna get a new console, Mario Luigi RPG. Where's Mario and Luigi? Well, that company, they let that company just die, didn't they? Nintendo did. Metroid Prime 4 was gonna be here by now. Bayonetta 3 I thought would be here by now. New Kid Icarus. Poor Star Fox. Got to check out my hashtag Save Star Fox video. Oh, you made one too? I got to check it out. Kahuna link. I got to check it out. Mecha are also, or that already. Capable Tie, RIP Mario Kart franchise. It's been almost 7 years since 8. Maybe they are going for 8. It's terrible, Capable Tie. It's terrible. Chris, I'm glad that the direction they're taking by making it a prequel with young Nobunaga and Mitsuhide. Yeah. I didn't even realize it at first because I was so confused for whatever reasons watching that trailer. I thought it was some kind of strategy, kind of war game at first because, for whatever reason they were hiding the gameplay to the end. I'm like, I know these characters. So they're making a strategy game based on these characters. And then, obviously they showed Samurai Warrior 5. Samurai Warriors 5. So, but yeah, very cool. That game collect or that already a while ago. Capable tie. I don't want to see Splatoon become Nintendo's Call of Duty. Me neither. It's starting to feel like that. It's not quite there. Obviously, it's not like every year, but 3 Splatoons in 6 years. That's, and when you're not catering to all these other franchises you got, like Splatoon is a popular game. I understand that, but is it that popular? I don't know. Maybe it is. Anyone have DOA 3 Scarlet for the Switch? Or is that DOA? What is that? I can't read. It's kind of tiny. DOA Axe 3? I don't know what that is. This is Chris. Visor Grit. Yeah, I felt real trolled with Splatoon 3 and IG Aonuma showing up. Yeah, he knew the minute that, people saw his face on camera. Yeah, it's Breath of the Wild 2. So he shot that down right away. And some people were still, I remember seeing some reaction from people like, oh, no, no way. I think it was Ruler 2. I think I saw his, he was not believing that they weren't going to show anything. But I'm not surprised. Again, I wasn't expecting any of that stuff and didn't get it. So, again, I'm indifferent. Matthew Shea, despite its overall success, the Switch is just a knee-jerk reaction to the failure of Wii U. It was rushed with bare-bones features. They realize they don't have to try as hard, so they don't. Yep, and I would also throw in bare-bones features and bare-bones quality build. The console. This is one of the most fragile Nintendo consoles I can remember owning. And I'm certainly worried about dropping or doing anything with this that I would never be worried about with any other console. Yeah, so I still haven't played the single player for Splatoon 2. I'm almost done with it. I mean, I haven't finished it. But again, I haven't finished it because it hasn't been that compelling of a, experience. So, but I am looking forward to, and probably the only thing that's kind of holding me back and keeping me from getting it earlier. I'm still looking forward to the expansion, Octo expansion. I've heard good things about it, so hopefully it'll be more of what I want. Where am I? Shadowboxing. I still haven't played I read that already. Just read that. That Game Collector, like, they could easily make new level packs. Yeah, easily. But why do that when you can sell a $60 game? Nintendo guy. The fact you have to pay for online immediately kills the multiplayer aspect of Splatoon for me. Yeah. I'd rather just not. I'll play something else online. There's a lot of free online games on Switch currently. Shooters and whatnot. Oh, I think I put too much in here. I'm strong. Inglorious, I stopped playing Splatoon 2 after my online subscription ran out. Matt Jazz. Monolith Soft is the company I look forward to the most out of Nintendo at this point. Yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever their new IP is. You had me at Action RPG. With a knightly female protagonist. So I'm down. Just give it to me. Give it to me already. Chris, internet browser. And I wasn't expecting to see that because, again, I think I mentioned it before, is that Monolith Soft usually tweets something when a direct comes out, when they have something to show. I'm pretty sure that's them. So it's been pretty quiet. So I didn't think they'd have anything to show here. Chris, the internet browser Netflix would be awesome too on Switch. Yeah, I forgot there's no internet browser whatsoever. So that's pretty strange when the Wii U had one. Still has one, but it's not updated, so it doesn't work quite well right now. Do you think Nintendo will skip E3 again and make us wait another 2 years for another direct? It's possible. I mean, anything's possible right now. I don't know this Nintendo, so I would never say nah, no way. Um, I'm jaded now, man. I hate being this way, but I haven't seen anything to get me off of it, get me off this. So that game, it's fun, but it's not worth $60. I beat it in 2 sittings. That says that game collector talking about Bowser's Fury. Yeah, I'm sure it'd be the same for me. I would definitely beat it in a couple sittings, and I would feel empty inside because I've already rinsed 3D World. I haven't 100%ed it yet, but I'm pretty close. And I'm not gonna like start that over on Switch. Why would I do that? You know. If anything, I would just, because I've had so many hours in it in Wii U, I just play it on Wii U again. Let's see. Capable type. Bowser's Fury will eventually be sold separately. At least I think it will be. Well, I might find out because I'm not gonna buy it. So if it does end up being sold separately, that'd be great. As like some kind of DLC, even if it's just digitally, that'd be great. Chris, by the way, what happened to themes on the Switch? All we have is 2 colors. Yeah, they have this thing called themes on the Switch. They had that day one. 4 years later, we still only have 2 colors. That is embarrassing. So I almost hope there's a Switch Pro because I would almost certainly get it. Because I buy multiple Nintendo consoles. I buy multiple everybody's consoles at some point. Because I do want to just mod the hell out of my Switch and get all the things that I want. Like, music backgrounds, whatever JPEG background I want, folders. All this stuff is right now capable. People have modded their Switches to do all these things. So, if anything, I want to Switch Pro more for that reason, so I can just mod the hell out of my current Switch. Because I don't want to do it when it's my only console. Like Wii U, I'm about to just buy a Wii U console only, just the body, and mod the hell out of it. Because there's some really cool stuff you can do on Wii U with Dolphin and just games you can get. It's great. Emulators and all that. Let's see. Rohan Star. Be happy. Want you got. At least their games is not bad as Xbox games. Sorry, Rohan. Again, I don't hold Nintendo to other companies' standards. I hold Nintendo to Nintendo standards, and they're not living up to their standards. This isn't a whataboutism. I don't do whataboutism. It's what have you done for me? That's where I come from. I don't do whataboutism. Well, what about this company? They don't do this and they don't do that. I don't care about that company. I'm a Nintendo fan. I mean, first. So that kind of thinking really doesn't do anything for me. Major Malfunction honestly could have been DLC if it wasn't for the port. Yeah, I mean, but it wasn't for that money. That's what it would have been. Chris, oh, he's talking to Chris there. The Red Gun, I have low faith in Nintendo at this point, but I have hope for Splatoon 3. It looks like they'll be taking some inspiration from the Octo expansion. I've heard that. I haven't played Octo expansion yet. And if you've seen my live reaction, what I was saying the entire time was like, Splatoon adventure game? Splatoon adventure? Splatoon adventure? Come on, yeah. I kept saying that over and over again because that's what I wanted. So I'm not gonna, unless they do some really cool thing with the online for that game, that's not gonna be enough for me to get Splatoon. It's gonna have to be some kind of meaty single player thing for me to care about Splatoon 3. let's see. Capable Ty. I miss the days when the biggest Nintendo scandal was a cheesy song and an ad about Splatoon. Right, remember that? You're a kid now. You're a squid now. Oh my god, it's so terrible. Yeah. Those were the good old days now, boys. Chris, 3DS had tons of themes by this point. I mean, the 3DS totally doo-doos all over the Switch's feature set. It's not even worth comparing. It's not even close. Nobody can tell you that different. So, and it's sad that that's the case, but it is the case. Let's see, Kahuna. I find it funny how we are now getting Mii love with Mario Golf and Miitopia. It's so strange. Nintendo, they do some strange things. We still care about Mii's? Like, I mean, it's cool. I mean, I like Mii's. I like my Mii's and all that stuff. I have tons of them. It's just so weird and random that Miitopia is happening on Switch. But in a way, it's not. It's like, well, that's an easy kind of game to make, budget-wise and visually. And it's quirky, it may hit that. I think Nintendo wanted to hit that Animal Crossing kind of niche vibe and be successful. It's possible. So, but yeah. Let's see, despite low sales, I honestly love the GameCube and OG Xbox. I might be the minority, but the PS2 to me was just as Shin Megami Tensei and Xenosaga Machine. Yeah, I mean, that's what PS2 was to me. Like, it was mostly like an RPG machine, which is cool. It was good for that. It was great for that, even. But my loyalty lies with GameCube and then original Xbox. I certainly played and had more cool experiences on those consoles. So yeah. Do you think it's wise to drop a new console in the middle of a pandemic? Apparently not, Chris, because they don't have enough systems to sell, obviously, and they didn't have no damn games, So it's not wise. They should have just waited to this holiday. Would it really have hurt either one of them? No. So, but they're both, trying to beat each other to market. So they had to both launch to not give the other guy a leg up. Matt Jazz, the irony was that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was the game with one of the best supports with content, yet sold nowhere near as much as these other games that has little to. Yeah, I mean, it's like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is not my favorite Xenoblade Chronicles, but I got over 100 hours in the damn game. But content, with that and Torna, like, it's through the roof, and the game hasn't sold that great. It's not bad, but it hasn't sold what you think it would have sold on a system like the Switch with that install base. Excuse me. And it being like a big, major, first-party title. It's pretty sad. But yeah, people would rather buy Wii U ports, games that they didn't find the Wii U valuable enough to buy. That's what I don't understand. It's like, I buy a console, outside of Nintendo. I buy a Nintendo console day one because I expect they're going to have the great games that I expect from Nintendo. But other consoles, I buy them when I feel like they have enough games to justify my purchase, So, I'm talking like, 5, 6, 7 games that I really feel like are must-buys I want to play. Then you have my purchase. So I'm looking at a system like the Wii U. It clearly had, to me anyway, 12 must-own games. major exclusives, big first party games and whatnot. For somebody to skip that, it's just strange to me. If you're a Nintendo fan, especially, like I'm a Nintendo fan, but I never bought a Wii U. What? Like that just doesn't register to me. It doesn't make sense to me as a Nintendo fan, because I'm like, well, it had, these major, big first party games, some third party exclusive games, Bayonetta 2s and whatnot. Xenoblade Chronicles, like these big games that I look at and say, hey, that's worth buying a console. That's worth owning a console for. Realistically, I'm talking like, 3-4 games. It's like, well, I'm sure I'll find more stuff on that system, but I know there's 3 or 4 games that I really want to play that I'm really going to love. That's enough for me to buy that console. And so for me to look at the Wii U, for people, so anybody to look at the Wii U, a Nintendo fan, look at the Wii U and say, nah, because it wasn't like they knew the Switch was going to have all these games on it. They were willing to let 3D World go. They were willing to let, Captain Toads and, even some of the third party stuff like Zombie U's and whatnot. Nintendo Lands. They were willing to let, Bayonetta 2, all these games just pass them by. The Wii was that bad. I don't think so. Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand it at all. Sure, it didn't have a lot of this other stuff, but for the experiences it had, they were great. And like I said, you didn't know the Switch was going to give you this stuff. You didn't know what a Switch was in 2016. And if you knew what it was, or if you were, you knew a console was coming, you didn't know it was going to get all these ports. So Nintendo, they barely bring their previous games to new consoles. That's something they rarely do. There's certain games they'll do that with, some Marios and Zeldas and stuff, but they rarely do that. So you were willing to let these games go. As a Nintendo fan, you were willing to pass on that console with those great exclusives? That's strange to me. And lucky for you that Nintendo didn't have a whole lot of acumen, I guess, when it came to the Switch, that they just said, oh, we'll bring all those Wii U games over. Lucky for you, that's what they did. Lucky for you, not me. Where am I? Xenosaga, says Shadowboxing. Chris, do you think... Oh, I read that already. So what? I feel like I missed something there. But Kena isn't out yet, that game collector. Is it out? You said, and I don't know, Kena looks good. Yeah, Kena looks good. It could be utter garbage. I don't think it is. It's one game that caught my eye. But it's not out yet, bro. And it, when is it coming out? I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to it. Is it coming out soon? I don't think so. I could be wrong. But it's not out yet. Would it have hurt anybody for the PS3 or PSP, PS3, PS5 to launch this holiday with Kena, with my game? Oh my god, I can't remember the name of it. It's my game, but I can't remember the name of it. What is it called? What's God of War is supposed to come out this year, right? So God of War, Kena, obviously the remake of Dark Souls, Horizon Forbidden West. That's my game. I couldn't remember earlier. Wouldn't that have been a better launch? Wouldn't that have been more exciting? More, oh, I must have that console. Like, if you have, I'm not knocking you if you have a PS5, because you bought it for what's coming. So I get that. I do that with my Nintendo consoles all the time. They don't always have everything I want at launch, obviously, but there's games I'm expecting. So If you bought a PS5, fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm getting an Xbox Series X when I can get my hands on one, and it doesn't have anything, you know. A couple of games that I care about picking up, but not, enough really at this point. So that's all I'm saying is that the launch itself could have waited, I don't think, that's a crazy thought. I mean, I think that they don't have anything. It reminds me of the Xbox One X launch. They had no games. Like you're launching this new hardware. Oh, it's the most powerful Who cares if you ain't got no damn games? Like it just, So, yeah, I'm not knocking either one of those consoles. I'm knocking their launch. That's what I'm knocking. Let's see. Where am I? I'll get lost. Kina. Okay. Red Gun. The Switch now feels like the Wii in its later years where there were complaints of it not having enough hardcore games. Yeah, it feels like that in ways. Certainly. Can't argue with that. Retro Death. Don't take my 2 free copies of Mario Kart 9 away from me. Is that the bet, Retro Death? You're getting free copies if it comes. Cough, Shokio, cough. I missed something there, Chris. Matthew Shea. Sony and Microsoft released the consoles early because they were trying to one-up each other. Yeah, that's basically what I said. In turn, caused shortages for each. And Ryzen 5000 series having all released all up at the same time. Yeah. Nintendo guy. If the Switch was selling Wii U numbers, I guarantee people would be singing a total. Yeah, of course. I said it. I said this during. I said this before the Switch came out. I said the Switch is going to sell well, right? But if it doesn't have this, and this, the stuff that people complain about on the Wii U, if it doesn't have these things and it sold well, nobody would say a damn thing. And here we are. And I'm not Nostradamus, I just understand how people think and operate. If Wii U sold, all those complaints about the Wii U, most of those complaints people wouldn't complain about because they don't complain about them on the Switch. They don't complain about the poor online. Obviously, the Wii U online was better because it was free, for one. But it offered more features. Miiverse being a big one. Video chat. Remember, it had video conferencing on the Wii U, folks. Gamepad Advantage, all that stuff. All the stuff that people complain about and dog the Wii U for, you wouldn't have said that on the Wii U and had it sold. It's clear that a lot of these guys only care about how the market reacts to it. They care about that more than they care about the games because that is always their defense. So it's clear that all these complaints would not exist on the Wii U had it sold, and all these complaints and all these real things that the Switch lacks, people don't care about because it sells. You can't knock something that sells. You can't critique something that's doing well. Why do that? Because I care about games. I hope gamers care about games. Let's see. I just read that. Nintendo guy. Also, Players, this is a complete Nintendo bootleg. Hey, you said it, man, not me. What happened to that guy? What happened to him? What do you mean? Like, I think he's pretty much how he's always been, right? Because people would call him that during the Wii U. So, I guess now it's just magnified, multiplied. I don't know. Matt Jazz, Nintendo rather take away hundreds of games from 3DS eShop than support with Brand new games. Yeah. They would rather just resell stuff. Like, to me, maybe I'm crazy on this one. This is my theory. To me, Skyward Sword HD is not, oh, we have to make that game to celebrate Zelda. Because even when they mentioned it, even when Al Newman mentioned it, it was so haphazard. Did you watch how he mentioned Skyward Sword HD? How he talked about it? It felt dry. I didn't feel excitement. It wasn't like, oh, I'm so excited to bring this game to you guys who probably never played it. To me, Skyward Sword HD feels like what a lot of these Wii U ports feel like. They feel like, oh, we lost money. Not lost it, but we left money on the table when it came to a lot of these games on Wii U. So let's re-up on that. And I feel like that's what happened with Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword didn't sell that great. It came out at the end of Wii's life cycle, but it was also kind of polarizing because of the Wii Motion Plus controls. And I feel like, oh, Switch is the re-up console. Let's bring out those games that didn't do well and port them, or didn't do as well as we would have liked them to do. Pikmin 3. Oh, we can get more money, and it's cheap and easy out of New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. 3D World. We can get more money out of that. Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze. We can get more money out of that. Didn't do that great. We were expecting 5 million sales like Returns did on Wii. It barely sold 1 million on Wii U. We can re-up with that. It's very business feeling. And that's what I feel about Skyward Sword. I feel about Skyward Sword that it's not it's not the celebration game that I think Nintendo is trying to make you think it is. Because obviously they're giving you those Joy-Cons that for a half a second I was like, I'm getting those. But I'm like, oh yeah, they're Joy-Cons. Never mind. Unless they did some kind of revamping of the build of Joy-Cons, those things are going to drift at some point, and I don't want to own something that looks that cool but doesn't work. So it just feels like, oh, let's get our money, man. Let's re-up. Skyward Sword didn't do that well. It will on the Switch. These fans want it. We can just do a bare minimum ass up-res and make good bank off of it. And I think that's just where they are with the Switch at this point. It is a re-up console. Let's re-up. I wanted to come on here and make a prediction. I'm trying to think of a game from the Wii, let's say the Wii era, that maybe didn't do as well as Nintendo wanted, but I can't think of one. But I mean, if they go out to the GameCube and do the re-up, I guess that brings hope, because there's a lot of games on the GameCube that I'm sure didn't do as well as Nintendo would have liked. Let's re-up. Again, even like 3D World or 3D All-Stars, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, I feel like, Mario Sunshine didn't do as well as Nintendo wanted. And I know they did. I know it didn't. Because I remember Iwata talking about that. Iwata talking about the disappointment that what was it? The disappointment that Mario Sunshine and Metroid. That's why I'm surprised Metroid isn't here yet. Metroid Prime Trilogy or something like that. I'm surprised that it's not here yet because, again, I feel like the Switch is a re-up console. That's what makes me feel like it's certainly coming. It's definitely coming at some point because, Metroid games notoriously sell way below what they should be selling. And so Nintendo's going to get that Switch re-up money on Metroid. I have no doubts about that. I know that it's coming. Metroid Prime Trilogy or whatever, in some form, it's coming. Because they're going to re-up. Because those games have not sold what they've wanted. And what's his name? Kurosawa. He's sitting around like looking at the old numbers and saying, "We can re-up. We can re-up on this." So I think that stuff is coming for sure. But if they go into GameCube re-upping, then we get we get stuff like F-Zero, we get Star Foxes. So, like Star Fox Zero, like that's a surprise that they haven't, made that game playable on Switch at this point, because that's a game where I could see them saying, we want to re-up. We didn't sell enough. Same thing with Mario Kart 8 on Wii U. It sold well, but Mario Kart games they sell 10 million plus pretty much all the time. 20 million sometimes, 20 million plus. So they were like, "There's still money on that table. We got to get that money." So that's why we got 8 Deluxe. I at the time, it's easy to say that now. At the time, I didn't know it was going to be this. So. They had to wait on Retro to make Funky Kong for years until they could start Metroid. So they glorious. That's so sad. More like Splatoon 1 version 3.0. Matthew Shea. Juice is in here. I missed Juice. Nintendo guy Chris. Oh, he's talking to somebody else. Terminator Juice. Switch is 3DS Pro. Yeah, pretty much. Switch and I would say 3DS and Wii U Pro. Do you think, says Chris, do you think Nintendo will take over Japan? Sony seems to be abandoning Japanese market. I doubt Microsoft will. Yeah, I think Nintendo's going to own Japan. That's why you're getting a lot of RPGs on Switch. You're getting a lot of stuff that traditionally come out on Sony consoles, Vita even, on the Switch. So, just look at the top charts in Japan. Nintendo owns Japan, hardware-wise and software-wise. It's not even close. So, yeah, it's going to be like that for a while. I don't see the PS5 changing that either. PS5 is not a Japanese-friendly console. So I don't see it changing. Let's see. Nintendo guy's answering Chris. Capable tie, you mean new 3DS Juice. Matthew Shea, more like Splatoon. Yeah, I read that already. My hopes for the Switch were for it to be a successor to the Vita, and it still hasn't achieved that. LOL. In some ways, it's gotten stuff that the Vita got or would get. I'm thinking of like ease and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not quite. I could see that where it's not quite what it should have been. Let's see. That Game Collector. Animal Crossing would be 10 times better with the gamepad. Oh gosh. So much more easy to navigate and all that good stuff. Oh my god. I'm surprised they don't let you do stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't really played Animal Crossing in gamepad only, or not gamepad, handheld. But I'm surprised they don't let you do stuff using the touchscreen on that in handheld mode. That game's built for that kind of stuff. Same with Fire Emblem and Advance Wars. Oh gosh, Advance Wars, yeah. All RPGs would be great with the Wii U gamepad. Missed opportunity. Oh yeah, for sure. Because that's what I was thinking when I saw the gamepad. I was thinking about stuff like that. Inventory management, all that cool stuff on the gamepad. The Game Collector, I just read that right. Yeah. And the Red Gun, is Nintendo still pushing indie? It almost feels like they've gotten away from that scene. Yeah, but if you go to the eShop, good God, there's tons of indie stuff on there. It's too much, if you ask me. I don't think they really push it anymore because the Switch has hit a stride, and they don't have to rely on indie as much. So, yeah. Nintendo boy, I got my Splatoon 3 So I'm really happy. Cool, cool. I mean, don't you have enough Splatoon though? Are you really starving for Splatoon, Nintendo boy? I don't think you are, but I know you're a big Splatoon fan, so I'm happy for you on that. Chris, I had loads of SNK games that I forgot. I had on Switch, yeah, like a lot of those early games that were download only, SNK games especially. They're in that basement, man. You got to go to the basement and dig around in your Switch basement and see what games you got down there. You might be surprised. It's sad that they're down there in the dark, but they are. Capcom taking people for a ride. Remember Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite? Oh my gosh. Yeah, like I said, the horrible Capcom days, they seem to turn it around in the recent years, but boy, trash. Trash. Oh crap. Dr. 20XX. I feel like no one other than Retro should have had any business touching Metroid Prime 4. Even though Retro might not be the same studio, it was back during the original Prime trilogy. Yeah, it was back in the original Prime trilogy. Yeah, like, when that rumor came out about Bandai Namco, people were like, really? And I'm like, well, if Nintendo picked them, they must have saw something, right? Wrong. Wrong. So yeah, just let Retro. They should have just done it from the beginning. Let them cut their teeth. If they're not the same company or the same, studio they were before, and they're not, let them cut their teeth on a new Metroid game, and let them become who they are, making a Metroid game. So I don't know why. I don't know what happened there. Red Run, I will buy and play every Zelda game, including the Philips ones, just for a new 2D Metroid. Have you played the Philips ones? I think you just talking smack there. It's funny because on my intro video to this State of Nintendo address, at the end of that clip was like a little skit using the Philips CDI games from Zelda, but I cut it off because it really would have seemed out of place and weird had I used that part too. So I would rather they take as much time as they need with it so it's good or better than the first one. What are you talking about there, Capable Ty? Is Pyro 2000X even around anymore? I think he is. I think yes, he is still around. If it wasn't for Pokemon, I would never use Switch Online. Pokemon fan, huh, Chris? Yep, hard to play without that. Oh, okay. Dead or Alive 3 Extreme. Okay, gotcha, Chris. OG Hoverfly. Hey, I'm here. Welcome. Visor Grunt, this is what I said. If you are willing to buy Wii U ports on Switch, then why didn't you buy a Wii U? I know the reason that big gaming media made fun of the console, so you didn't buy it. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I don't know why I didn't just say that earlier when I was talking about that. But yeah, you got talked out of a Wii U by the gaming media. You a zombie, bro. Like, you let... I'm just not built that way. I'm not the popular opinion guy. I'm not like Retro Death, where he is a contrarian sometimes. But no, I'm just like, I don't care if the gaming media doesn't get it or whatever. Like, if I get it, that's all that matters to me. Like, if I understand it, I'm not falling for the okie doke. A lot of people fall for the okie doke. I'm not that consumer. So, yeah, a lot of these guys just didn't buy a Wii U because the Wii U wasn't in the media's good graces. It wasn't a darling. Same thing with the Xbox One. But the Xbox One shot themselves in the foot. Don't get it twisted. But it eventually came around to be a decent console. But there was still so much just dog piling on that console that was undeservedly so at points. But yeah, you guys got duped by the media. And now, I guess now you're paying for it, literally. You're paying for it because you're paying, full price for 6, 7, 8-year-old games. And that's on you, bro, I guess. I mean, it just sucks for me because I'm also paying for it too. I'm paying for the fact that you guys didn't buy a Wii U, which sucks for me as a Nintendo fan. I'm being punished because you didn't buy a Wii U. It very much sucks. Let's see. Anybody who was interested in these Wii U ports had a reason to buy a Wii U, no doubt. I mean, it's obvious, and I don't know the argument against that. It's just facts. My excuse was I adopted a cat. I skipped 18. Okay, that's different. That's not like, oh, you looked at the Wii U and said, nah, I ain't buying that trash. That's a little different. The only game I really played much of was Doom. Didn't have a GPU at the time. Yeah, I mean, that's not the same thing. We're talking about Nintendo fans who even bought a 3DS but said, not Wii U. The media don't like it. Yeah, your situation is much different. Venom Snake, do you think Sony is justified in the game $70 price hike? No, I certainly don't. They think they are, but I don't. PlayStation fans in Japan are tired of the censorship. Yeah, I heard that. Surprising to me that Sony is the censoring company in Japan. That is quite odd. That's quite a 180 there. Venom Snake, I read some Japanese developers left the industry because of the censor. Wow. If that's true, that's crazy. Crazy. Rob Morris, a lot of third party or indie games that are respectfully good, you're better off waiting because they get collaborations or collections within a year or months. That's what I do a lot with some third party, but mostly indie games, is I wait. Like I waited on Hades and now it's on a cart. And I'm glad. Because I think a lot of these companies expect you to double dip. A lot of these indie companies are like, we'll put the game out digitally only because we're indie and we'll get a pass. People give us a pass. We're an indie company, so we don't do the cart thing. And then later on, even though they've always been planning to make it, put it on physical, they're like, oh, here it is. And because if you watch the direct, I think the guy even said, no. If you basically if you bought it digitally, you can buy it again. And I'm like, they don't even like hide it anymore. So, yeah, they definitely are doing that. Freddy Chips, when they opened the Super Nintendo World in Japan, a guy called Covido Coronario stole all the golden coins. There is no money left for great new game. Stop. Nintendo guy. What frustrates me as a Nintendo fan is the fact that there's definitely some really talented people working there, but it just feels like their full potential isn't being utilized totally. We're like simpatico here, Nintendo guy, because I was thinking that same thing. I was like, I know Nintendo has talent that have been grooming for 20 years, some of them or more. The Splatoon crew, those dudes are talented. They've been groomed by the masters, Miyamoto and Aonuma and stuff. They've been Koizumi. They've been groomed by the masters, and I know they got some stuff they want to get off their development chests. And I feel like you just said, I feel like their potential is being held back because Nintendo on that let's get that money thing right now. Let's not spend this money. Let's get this money. So, unfortunately, that's where we are. Rob Morris, I don't get why people are buying Wii U now and paying higher prices since there's not a ton of them out there. The games are on the Switch right now in front of you. Well, no matter how many... Here's the thing. Now, you can't fully get the Wii U experience today because some of the features like Miiverse are gone. But you can't port what even in the few games that the Wii U really utilized the gamepad, you can't port that experience to the Switch. And no matter what, not every game is coming. There's a really good chance Xenoblade Chronicles X is not coming to the Switch. It might, towards closer to the end of the life cycle or something. But it sounds like, from what the developers are saying, that's not a game they want to work on and bring over to the Switch. So not everything is coming. Fatal Frame, even though it's digital only in the West, outside of Japan, that may never come to the Switch. I want it to because I want a physical copy of it. But there's always going to be something that's not coming. So why not get the system that you can get everything you want on it, without having to worry or wait or pay full price. And expensive. Did you say it was expensive for Wii U? Wii U is super cheap. If you buy a used one, you can get one from GameStop for like $120. Let me see if I got that right. I don't want to say something that I'm wrong. Wait, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Oh, there. I don't get why people are buying Wii U now and paying higher prices for it. Yeah, they're not. I don't. Where are they paying? I hope they're not paying higher prices. You can get a Wii U for half of what it used to cost. Obviously, it's used. If you buy a new one, it's going to be expensive because it's rare. There's not many sealed copies of Wii U consoles out there, so it's going to be expensive. But if you're buying, you can buy a used Wii U for $120 or cheaper. Sometimes it depends on where you get it from. And the games are super cheap right now. A lot of the Wii U games are very cheap, and honestly, the Switch is making some of them cheaper. It's bringing down the price of Wii U games. So again, Wii U is a good investment because you're not sitting around waiting and hoping a game comes because you can get it. And plus, like I just said, the mod scene on Wii U is glorious. It is glorious. It is worth owning a Wii U for that alone today because, there's some really cool stuff you can do and get on the Wii U, on the mod scene. So you'll just never be able to emulate that. It's like trying to emulate a 3DS or a DS, Nintendo made that dual screen because they wanted to crack down on piracy also. Because if you couldn't get the full fun experience on a PC or whatever you're trying to emulate it on, then most people won't want to play it that way. So that was what their thinking was with the Wii U as well. Is that, a lot of these games, most of these games we're making, you're not going to get that experience anywhere else. Piracy or porting it to something. I mean, go play Zombie U on, on PS4 and Xbox One. Tell me what you think about it on those consoles. Let me know. Holla back. Let's see. Nintendo guy. What frustrates me as a Nintendo fan is the fact that there's definitely some really I read that already. I thought that I did. Kahuna, I feel if you deny a system, then you deny the games on it. That's how I feel about Wii U. Yeah, I mean, that's, I'm not some, people act like you're being some kind of Wii U elitist. No, the point is, if those games have value to you today, why didn't they have them for you back then? Now, if you have situations like what's his name earlier say, basically it was a money thing. I can't knock you for that. I'd never knock you for not having the funds. But if you sat back and you could have got one, and you could have got all these games, and you didn't, then that's on you. Has nothing to do with the console. Console has great games. You buy the console. That's how it works. Shadowboxing. It's like Nintendo let the younger guys have their way for a while, and then the older guys took over again when they seen it wasn't just Mario, Pokemon, and Zelda selling well. Yeah. Kind of like that. Matt Jazz, Nintendo's marketing strategy is taking away advantages from the previous systems to make the Switch look better. Kinda. Pretty much. Can't argue with that. Nintendo Guy, the only game I would love to see get ported to the Switch is the Master Quest version of Ocarina of Time. The 3DS remake has it, and the GameCube. Again, the GameCube has it. You can actually get, if you care to get it that way, there is a reproduction version of the Master Quest on N64 even right now. It's pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff to do with the modding and reproduction communities. Shadowbox, and the funny thing is there are still people online in Xenoblade Chronicles X on Wii U. I know, I was on it not 5 or so days ago, and if people want to play Earthbound so bad, it's either Wii U or new 3DS. Is people complaining about Earthbound? Is some people's complaining about Earthbound? Yeah, well, you can play it. There's ways to play it. Like you said, new 3DS or Wii U. I ain't complaining about no Earthbound. I already got it. Ipsters, what's up, my man? What's up, Ipsters? Let's see. Nintendo Guy, just because the version of the game is hard to come by. What game are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about Master Quest. Yeah, it's not easy to come by on GameCube for sure. So it's expensive. I have it because it is what it is. I'm a collector. No, it's because I bought it back then. I got it for free. I'm pretty sure I got it free for pre-ordering something. Let's see. Nintendo Guy. Oh yeah, Rob Morris. Zombie U seemed like the second time around wasn't a big deal, but was a great experience on Wii U. And don't get me wrong, I still play Wii U. Yeah, I'm not saying I wasn't saying anything against you there. I was just saying why I think people still buy it and play it to this day. The same with Earthbound Beginnings. Those two, along with Metroid Prime Trilogy and Xenoblade Chronicles X, are the reasons why I still have a Wii U. Yeah, I mean, I love my Wii U, man. But I love my Dreamcast. I love my Sega Saturn. Those consoles will always be within striking distance for me to play. My Wii U is right here next to my Switch, next to my GameCube, next to my OG Xbox, next to above my Sega Saturn. My Sega Dreamcast is right over here. My PlayStation 2, 3 is on the floor down there. N64 obviously is right there next to my GameCube, another GameCube. So, I'm not everybody's gonna have this type of setup. I get that. But if you care enough about these things, you invest in them. And that's what I did. I wanted to keep my stuff. I didn't keep everything. Some of the stuff I had to go back and rebuy in the 2000s. What do they call them? The aughts. I had to go back and buy some of this stuff. So yeah. The Wii U clearly only failed due to poor marketing and apprehension towards the console. Yeah, I mean, media bias uh, equaled apprehension, equaled poor sales. People obviously agree with the Wii U's games were great. Says who's that? Scarf Tail. Yeah, I mean, you can't deny it, and that's what guys like me were saying for forever. Is the Wii U games are great. You know, you guys are talking about this superficial nonsense when it comes to the console. The games are great. So that's what I care about as a gamer. Ipsters, I remember back in Wii U era, 99% of people always said, I'm not buying a Wii U for one game, and said it for every first party game. So, but then it's like one game plus one game plus one game. Those add up to more than one game. So I always thought that was a weird argument. I'm not buying a Wii U for one game. Which is for people who go out day one and get a console before they know what's on it. To say I'm not getting a console for one game when these guys go out and get a console day one on other companies all the time. It's weird, man. Mrs. T has more consoles than Sakurai's console set. Yeah, I definitely got Sakurai. I got, he had a pretty good setup. But if I want to quickly, I don't think I have anything behind my monitor here. Let me quickly go over what I got in front of me. Xbox 360, Xbox One, OG Xbox, Nintendo Switch. I have a GameCube here, but it's not hooked up. It's just display. I have two GameCubes sitting here, display only. My Nintendo Wii is right there. My Sega Saturn is right there. There's my iMac or my Mac Mini, which is what I'm broadcasting to you folks on right now. Then I have my 2 or 3 mini consoles: my Sega Genesis Mini, my NES Mini, and my Super Nintendo Mini right there. I used to have something behind the monitor, but I moved it because I didn't want anything behind the monitor. So right here I have my N64. Then I have my GameCube that I play with the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy player attached. Then I have my PS4. Under that I have my Dreamcast. Under my Dreamcast I have my PlayStation 2. Next to my PlayStation 2, basically under it, is my PlayStation 3. Here is my gaming PC right here. And there's my Mac Pro desktop. So all of it's right here, and they're all mostly hooked up. I would like to show you my switcher. I have a HDMI switcher here, and I have a bunch of banded, taped together, labeled HDMI cables. So because I can't fit everything into my switcher, I only have how many is it? 6 switcher, and there's more consoles than that. So I can switch them, and I can pull out and plug in whatever I want to plug in when I want to play it. And I have everything labeled so I can easily access it. It's great. It's a great setup. Rob Morris, a ton of people buy the next console for Madden or Call of Duty, and then they collect dust under old remotes. I know people like that. One of my best friends does that. He plays Call of Duty. He doesn't play Call of Duty. He loves his Maddens. He plays, sports games and stuff for the most part. He'll pick up a major first party game here and there, but he's a good chunk of gamers out there who buy. Some people just play Call of Duty all the time. Some people play Fortnite all the time. It doesn't matter, So I don't want to hear this. I don't buy for one game. That was only a rule when it came to Wii U. It was strange times. I remember people saying, I can't get a Wii U because they can't afford it, but ran out and bought $400 PS4 and Xbox One, and 3 to 4 games for each, a week apart from each other. Well, they had to put their money on that, not some, Wii U. No Atari 2600 or Sega Master System T. No, I emulate those. I have them, but it's just, it's easier for me to emulate those than to have those out and to have them with a switcher on them. Also, I have my original Xbox has, emulators from Atari. I still have a lot of the games, but it's just easier for me to just run emulators on that stuff. So Super Nintendo, I have my Super Nintendo, but I don't have it hooked up because I have my Mini right here and I have every game on it that I want. So it just doesn't, and the controller is still a Super Nintendo controller, so it still feels like I'm working on, real hardware there. So, but yeah, my OG Xbox is modded, and I have arcade and all that kind of stuff on it. So, I go all the way back. I go all the way back to the Atari 2600 for sure. ColecoVision. So yeah. But I have those systems, but I have them kind of boxed up. I don't keep them out because it's just easier to emulate. Switch really came a long way thanks to its library. It was, didn't have a whole lot in the beginning for sure. The launch was pretty barren. There was some good stuff, but it's come a long way. It just hasn't reached the potential I wanted it to get to as a Nintendo, console that has sold so much. Matt Jazz, Sony and Microsoft launched super early due to the Switch becoming popular, even though it has poor quality control. So figured, hey, broken producers can sell. Yeah, they're all trying to, they're all maneuvering. They're all trying to find their spot while they can. Freddie Chips, no Soulja Boy console. No Soulja Boy console. Sorry, Freddie. No, I didn't buy those. I didn't buy one of those. Even to just show you guys, look, this is the Soulja Boy console. I wouldn't spend my money on it, even just to show, as for a YouTube thing. But some people did that. They complained about it, but yet they still went out and bought. I don't get it. I'm different. Kahuna, my setup looking like GCN, Dreamcast, PS2, Xbox One, X, PS4, Switch, Wii U, Super NES Classic, still a work in progress. That's a good start. That's way better or way more than a lot of other people probably have, set up. I have a Satellaview for 15 years, but no idea if it works because I'm not Japanese and it's not 1994. Says hipsters, but it's cool that you have one. That's a cool collector's piece there. I wouldn't care. It wouldn't matter to me if I had, say, something like a broken 64DD. I'm not gonna play it, but I would just like to have that piece of hardware. Same thing for the Panasonic Q. I'd like to get a Panasonic Q. It doesn't have to work. I just want that hardware. I just think it looks cool. So. Maple Miles. Oh, you're talking to Matt Jazz. Nintendo has hit its true potential of playing AAA games on the go, like Mario Kart 11 and Witcher 3, or MK11, Mortal Kombat, Mario Kart. That's cool, but they're lesser, versions. On the go, that was a talking point, I feel like, before the pandemic. Even a lot of people don't really talk about that as much anymore as a selling point or a big thing, anymore. At the end of the day, I'd rather have really nice visuals on Witcher 3. It's, I still play it on Switch because the only reason is because I can carry my saves back and forth from my GOG version, my PC version, to the Switch version. If I can do that, I would, I'd have the Switch version just for a collector's item, but I wouldn't actively be playing it because because that's not the way you want to play Witcher 3. You want the nice visuals for a game like that. Great frame rate. What is your favorite non-Nintendo console? Mine is probably Sega Genesis. Easy. Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn is my favorite non-Nintendo console, followed by the Sega Dreamcast. Genesis is in there somewhere. I actually bought a Genesis before, I actually got a Genesis before a Super Nintendo. So, and I felt like I was happy with my Sega Genesis, and I started looking over my shoulder at my friends who had a Super Nintendo. I was like, oh, gotta get one of those. Can't wait anymore. But yeah, Sega Saturn. Right here. Panzer Dragoon. This is actually, I just got this. Oh crap. This is actually the Japanese case, but the American version of the game. I just got a good deal on a. Well, not American. This is the UK version, the European version, PAL version. PAL version. But if you have a action replay cart, you can play other region games, Japanese and whatnot. So yeah. The selling point is big titty anime girls with swords. Rob Morris. Yeah, the drift is pretty bad on Switch. I repaired 2 Joy-Cons already and have to fix 2 Pro controllers. I did, however, just purchase a Nano Mini with the matte finish, and that thing is nice. To me, there's better alternatives to the Switch as far as controllers go. I actually modded my controller. I don't know if you guys saw my my tweet online about this. I'm crazy about red and black. That's my colors. My Camaro is red and black. My American Muscle car. Red and black is just a nice combo of colors. So I was having issues with my joystick as well. It wasn't drift. It just wasn't registering when you pushed up. I was checking it in the calibration and whatnot. So, and the D-pad wasn't working right. So now that I've switched this D-pad and the the analog stick, it actually works now. So yeah, I was having problems with my Pro controller as well, but I modded it and now it works fine. I love this. I love the grips, the red kind of clear grips, see-through. It's dope. Dope. Love this. And you guys know you saw it earlier, my red and black Switch as well. Bought that decal, so now it's like, ooh, look how I love my customized Switchness. So yeah. Put that back in the dock. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else here for you guys. I'm gonna get on out of here and relax for a bit. It's been a busy day, super busy day for me. I probably sat down an hour of free time just before I got on this podcast, this State of Nintendo address. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the State of Nintendo address and maybe have a better, not opinion, a better perspective on where I'm coming from when I talk about the State of Nintendo. Obviously, Nintendo, the company, is doing very well. So the state of their union is strong. It's just the state of their union with me is not very strong right now. And I hope that changes. But they feel very different as a company to me. And like I said, I've been on this bus for a long time, this Nintendo bus. And it feels like I don't like this direction they're going. Hopefully this is just a blip. But it's been 4 years on the Switch. And 3 of them, 2.5 of them have been pretty, I don't know, maybe 3. I don't like this squeezing every game out at the end of the year thing. They didn't really do that last year, but they didn't have a whole lot last year. And, you can say the pandemic for that. But you say the pandemic for that, and you have two companies that launched consoles but maybe that wasn't the best idea. So there is that. But yeah, hopefully, I don't know who I am as a gamer if I'm not a Super Nintendo fan, and I don't mean like Super Nintendo the console, but like super duper Nintendo fan. I don't know who I am as a gamer if my how do I put it? If my foundation isn't with Nintendo, like if that's not my foundation, I'm shaky. I'm on shaky ground. I don't know who I am as a gamer. So hopefully, because it's part of my identity. Nintendo is part of my gaming identity for sure. Not just gaming, just my cultural identity. So hopefully, we get back. Hopefully, amazing. Was it always into something? Mario Golf. Yeah. Hopefully Mario Golf isn't disappointing because I was excited about Mario Tennis and it didn't turn out what I wanted to be. So hopefully that's not the situation with golf. Hopefully it actually is really meaty, and I can really get into it. As you can see, I bought some Switch games. I'm not a Switch hater. I don't hate the Switch. I just hate that it's not meeting its full potential. I hate it that the Wii U didn't meet its full potential with a lot of games as well. But that system was on another plane because it didn't sell well, So I couldn't get overly upset about things when the system just didn't sell well. There's going to be some deficiencies when a console doesn't sell well. But here we are. And I'm out here by myself for the most part. A lot of people don't agree. A lot of Nintendo fans don't agree. And they mad at me. They mad. I made them mad when I say these things. But again, I got to be true to myself. DC Superhero Girls Team Power. Yeah, no. Yeah, you should watch my live reaction, how I reacted to that. It wasn't anything overly crazy, but it's pretty funny. Multiplayer Golf Rush mode should be lots of chaotic fun. Yeah, that should be fun. That's definitely a mode I see myself playing a lot. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I don't see them messing that up. So. But yeah, that's it for the State of the Union address. My State of Nintendo Union address. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching and listening and being active in the chat. Matthew Shea, Nintendo guy. You had some great stuff tonight there. Thank you. Rob Morris as well. Matt Jazz. I said Matthew Shea already. Maple Miles. Ipsters. Thanks for joining. Shadow Boxing, you had some good stuff as well. Freddie Chips cracked a few jokes, good stuff. Venom Snake, Major Malfunction, great name by the way. Visored Grunt, always a pleasure. Me and Visored Grunt, we be like this. No matter how, because I do get apprehensive, I do get worried. That I'm going to rub people the wrong way, but I have to be honest. Even with that, I have to be honest, and I am honest. But a lot of times, Visor Grunt is ahead of me on a lot of these things. I agree. We both. I know he usually agrees with my point of view on the stuff. And a lot of times he's just ahead of me and comes up with good points, really good points. Red Gun, Capable Tie. Good to see some of you guys. I haven't seen you in a while. Juice Crew, obviously. Them guys are probably long gone. Mecha Art, good stuff. Thank you for joining. Didn't want to miss you there. Call Me Chemo. Jeff Young. 1GWX, it's good to see you. Inglorious Bastards, good to see you as well. Christopher Salinas, Chris, DGC, my boy. We're working on a video that's gonna make some people mad, probably. So look forward to that. Retro Death, I already said. Juice Crew. Bruce Kent. Bruce Kent, you like post and early on, and I don't see you again. Sergeant Bilby. And I think that's it. Jonathan R. The MD20. Yeah. Jarion, my boy Jarion. Can't forget him. All right. If I missed you, I'm sorry. And thank you guys for watching and listening, as I said. And I'll see you folks next time. Peace out.